Amber Bradaway here. Great to see you again. It is snowing. The visibility is not as wonderful as we'd hoped, but we are not going to wish any flake away this year. There's one thing I've learned. So I'm here today. I'm joined by Tyler Seitz. He is our parks manager. He oversees our terrain parks in the winter and our bike park in the summer. You've seen Tyler a few times. And what we wanted to do today is just talk a little bit about what's going on with our terrain parks here at Solitude, as well as, you know, it's still National Ski Areas Association Safety Month. We're talk a little bit about Park Smart. So behind me, we have Tude Dudes, and this is our progression park, which features all small and medium features, correct?
Correct.
Yep. And so this is the park where, like, my daughter who's 6 and people who are just trying to figure out, you know, what they want to do, what skills they want to work on. This is the park where we expect people to start. So Tyler, talk to us a little bit about like what's in here. What can people expect to find in this park?
Totally. So all of our jib features are all ride-on, meaning that the lip of the takeoff will always ride you right onto the feature. Whether that is a box or some of our super small short rails, taking the jumping and the ollieing out of the equation, so our guests can kind of get the experience of what does it feel like to slide on, you know, these boxes and rails.
So jibs are like actual features, like
correct. Yeah, so it'd be like our boxes, wood, metal.
Okay.
Sometimes they have like the plastic surface called Lexan.
Okay.
We also have tabletop jumps in here.
Okay.
Meaning that these jumps are not mandatory airs. They range anywhere from 15 to 18 feet. And they're just like how they sound. They're true tabletops. So you can ride right over them as many times as you want to get a good feel, a good sense of the transition, work your speed up, and not have to worry about the fall off the backside of the jump.
Yeah. And he used another term called ollie. I'm gonna be your interpreter here. What does that mean, Tyler?
On a snowboard, it's essentially jumping in the air. It's a certain
comes from skateboarding.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And on skis, I mean, I guess you could call it an ollie on skis too.
Yeah. And so Tyler joined us. He came here from Palisades. He spent some time there working terrain parks. Tyler, when we approach like designing parks, so this one we call small and medium, but like what are the things, like how do you even figure out, you told us a little bit about what the goals are, but like how do you figure out spacing and lines and you know, how far into the entrance or out of the exit? Like what kind of like designing do you put into when you imagine these parks?
Totally. A lot of it comes just from, you know, what is our grade? And if our grade isn't what we want it to be, well, can we use snow to manipulate that grade?
The grade is like the steepness.
The steepness of the run, right? So if we have a run that is too steep, it's not necessarily bad for parks, but we can use the snow and kind of reshape that terrain to naturally check people's speed. And how we do that is kind of building like these tiers and steps down the run. So you'll have some speed, you'll come to a flat, and that will just oscillate over and over again through the run. Yeah. Fortunately with Tude Dudes, we kind of already had that shape in the run. So the biggest...
I kind of like this too, because when I'm on the lift, it's fun. It's fun to spectate. I enjoy watching people in there and seeing what kind of skills and tricks they want to work on. Now, we tried to do a progression park of sorts on North Star last year. We do not have snowmaking on North Star. Snowmaking and terrain parks do need to mate most of the time. And so we found that was difficult. It took us a while to get the snow over there to build the features. And then just trying to maintain that throughout the year was pretty challenging, right?
Yeah, especially in the springtime. Having that man-made snow in your snowpack come spring is crucial for parks.
Yeah, so that didn't work out. And so this year we started off with this progression park. We started with some features on Easy Street because, again, it was a lean start to the fall and our snowmaking had some issues. So we started this on Easy Street. That was pretty fun. Those first few weekends. It was great to see the kids and families down there enjoying that. And now this year, here we are in Tude Dudes. We don't know, we're still trying to figure out all the different locations. This is a great location. You can see all the usage behind us. We're lucky, now we still have some great green options around this way, and obviously our green option same street. But we know we're gonna keep looking at where on the mountain our terrain parks are gonna be best for our guests and work best for our teams and our conditions and grade. And you know, as Solitude continues to lean into figuring out its snowmaking, which we are doing actively, improving that and enhancing that, that will go very closely with as we continue to figure out how to build out our parks program here at Solitude.
Totally. Snowmaking is going to be huge. We can open with parks like this day one.
Right.
With that type of system.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna take a spin through this park, and then we're gonna head back up Moonbeam, and we're gonna go check out our bigger, which is our medium feature park over on Main Street. All right, here we are. We are in the Main Street Terrain Park. This is our signature park, and this is our medium park. Is
Correct.
Everything in here medium?
Everything is in here is medium.
Okay.
Yep.
So Solitude is not in the large feature game or the large jump game. So this park is medium. So the idea is after you've kind of mastered some of those skills over on Tude Dudes, this is where you would come. And since we're in NSA Safety Month, talk a little bit about Park Smart and like what are we recommending to people as they come into parks and how they can navigate progressing and making good choices?
Totally. I think the biggest thing is take a couple laps to check everything out in the zone before you attempt to ride any of it. We finally have Main Street built, but it's not going to look like this forever. We constantly swap features out, change it around, and change the flow of the whole park. So kind of getting a good sense of what does it look like today is a great place to start.
Yeah.
If you've mastered some of the more ride-on jib features, the boxes and rails, myself, I'd be looking to go to these tube features. They're very forgiving. They have short fall distances, and you can kind of start to learn that ollie on to the rail technique.
And now Tyler has an engineering background. Tyler, what is the science behind terrain parks? Talk to us about that.
Believe it or not, we don't go out there and just, hold our hands up and like, that jump's good to go. We actually do put some physics behind these to make sure our speed's there, our angles are there. Our NSAA has a guidebook of a general overview of what your jump should look like.
NSAA is the National Skiers Association, and that's our industry network, and they put out a lot of different guides to help operators like ourselves, meet sort of industry standards.
Right. And to jump out, without getting into the nitty-gritty, we look for things like, is our takeoff and our gap length 1-to-1? Is that ratio 1-to-1? Meaning the length of your takeoff, is that the same length as how far you're going to be gapping? And we measure that from end of the lip to the very end of the knuckle. So right in the top portion of the jump. If that's 1-to-1, we can check that box. We look at our takeoff angle. Okay, does that match our landing angle? Those need to be spot on with each other. The biggest one, and this is what deems jumps in my eyes to be more reasonably safe than others, is your length of landing. We always look for a 2-to-1 ratio on that. So if we're gapping 30 feet from lip to knuckle, we want our landing length to be at least 60 feet. And the longer that is, the better. However, the longer you make your landing, the taller that whole landing is going to be. So it can be perceived as, oh, that is a really large jump, when actually it's just a more reasonably safe jump for our guests, because it's giving them a lot larger footprint to land if their speed isn't quite dialed on the first day.
Right. Yeah, it's not the jumping that gets you, people. It's the landing.
It's the landing.
So talk to us behind, because some people see the terrain park and they see what's behind us. We have the deck and the jump, and they're like, "Whoa, that's so big! It's a massive, monster jump." And so talk to us about what we're seeing back here.
Right. So if you see it's a little hazy, but if you see in the middle, that would be our takeoff. That particular takeoff is
with the flags on it.
With the flags on it.
Yeah.
That's 24 feet wide. That's a little bit wider than a snowcat. The reason you see that landing so built up and so wide is because we need to be able to fit a cat on either side of it. So we refer to those as our bypass lanes with our snowcat when we go to groom them and build them. The flat portion that the actual jump is actually sitting on would be the deck of the landing. So that's the uphill side of the landing. Once you've broken over the knuckle, you are now on the landing of the jump.
Right.
But they look so, they look like they take a lot of snow, because they do. We got to fit a 22-foot wide snowcat on all three sides of it.
Yeah. And so one of the things this year we got, I think some people are just really curious, like, why did you put all your snowmaking here and not elsewhere? And, that's fair. We really only did about 4 days of snowmaking in the Main Street Park.
Not much.
Not much. Yeah. Very little. Part of why we blew snow here is because of our snowmaking challenges that we have admittedly had did not allow us to make snow in other parts of the resort, the way our system is designed. So when we had the water and the temps, we figured we might as well put it here because this was the section that was working at that time. And so, you know, and again, the other reason that Solitude got into the parks, some people, and again, this was a resurgent, they had parks kind of a while ago, but they didn't really have sort of this approach, is, you know, our a lot of our the largest volume of the visitor to Solitude is a young adult. They're late teens, they're early 20s, and you know, they love doing this stuff. And quite honestly, I'm a 48-year-old middle-aged woman, and I don't want to do this, but I sure as heck enjoy watching it. And guess what my kid, my 6-year-old, guess what she wants to do? She wants to come in the parks and check it out, and not that she's gonna be doing this stuff, but it's fun to watch. And I think whether you're young or old, I can very much appreciate, we feel that the parks creates a much more inclusive and welcoming resort. We're excited about riders and skiers and giving families, people that wanna come here and have this experience where for many years Solitude didn't have that. So just to give you some information on why we do this, what our philosophy is, we've been in the small and medium park business. We don't intend to get out of that. We know that we're still trying to figure out optimal terrain for some of our satellite parks. We're gonna keep working on that. But a lot of that's gonna go hand in hand with our snowmaking system as we get it more efficient and as we, you know, try to figure out some more capacity. But, you know, Tyler, you and your team are doing a great job. How many times did you dig out the park last year?
Oh my goodness. Dug out almost every day, it seemed like. Full
Unreal.
rebuilt. It's well into the 20s and 30s. So.
Yeah.
But Main Street's here, and I'm excited to get right back on that schedule this year.
Okay, so by the time this posts, we will have passed our NSA Rail Jam, but we've got some pretty cool terrain park features, events coming up later this season we're really excited about, and we're excited to do more with that too, and trying to figure out how we can create more opportunities for park events here at Solitude. So I'll see you in a few weeks, and let it keep snowing.